veto, I thought he's directly looking at Sandy Widener challenging her because
Right.
she's the only one that says she would veto it.
Well, here we are again. Welcome back to Talking Racine. To my left, Mr. George Myers.
Welcome.
To my right, Mr. Jim Spodek, our producer. And I'm Dr. Ken Jorgen, your host. Now, we're going to look at a clip here real quick. We're going to start it out. We're going to take a little trip back down to Machinery Row. I know that's a place that you guys are familiar with by now, having watched this show as much as you have. We're going to go back down to Machinery Row, but we're going to go there in the spirit of Mr. Jack Schiestel, who is one of the operators of the Racine Baseball Club. And he made a visit to the city council recently and spoke to them about what their responsibilities are. This is a very interesting clip. Go ahead and play it, Jim.
My name is Jack Schiestel. I'm with the RBC, the Racine Baseball Co-op. I'm sure some of you have seen me before. I'm here maybe to help you as much as to help us. It looks like we're going to lose our shot at being where we are, but I always thought in the city, you people were the ones that made the decisions. And what I've found counting even today were other people making decisions for you. One of them is the city administrator, another one is the acting mayor. We had a meeting today and they told us that this building is coming down this year. It's going to be down in a year. We're gone. We're kicked out of here. I always thought this was your decision. Isn't it time that you people start running the city? This is how we got into the situation that we're in already, and we don't even have to talk about that. But I would be really insulted if I was in your place and people were making decisions for me. We have a water system up there that I guess went defunct, and we found out that it was going to cost $150,000 to $200,000. That's what we were told by the city administrator. Well, we didn't see anything in writing. We were never told anything else. But I always believe that you need at least 1 or 2 or 3 quotes. We found somebody that would come in from Kenosha and look at it for us and very much so give us a bid way under what we were told it would cost. But they said absolutely, positively no. We could not bring somebody in to your building, because you do own it, into your building and look at it and give us another reasonable fee that it would cost for us to stay there. But I'm asking for your help. I'm asking you to try to think with your hearts. If you have any questions about this, I'd be glad to talk all day about what's going on. But we've had meeting after meeting without you people being there. And I think it's time that you're part of this. You're part of Racine. I'd like to be able to say that I'm proud of Racine again, but what I say tonight is a fact. It's a fact. And if I'm not asked about it and questioned about it, trust me, and I apologize. Shame on you.
Thank you, Jack, for your comments.
Okay, well, that's a
That was right
topic.
to the point.
Yeah, I mean, he laid it
The
out there.
council's in charge. I thought you were in charge.
Yeah, you're in charge. Act like it.
That's
kind of what he was telling him.
Jack is not a part of the government. He's
Just
run
a
this
citizen,
baseball club
yeah.
for a long time, but he's sure got a good feel what the government's supposed to be doing and the council's supposed to be doing. The council's supposed to be in charge, and he says, "I thought you were in charge. Why aren't you in charge?"
Well, he's interacted with them enough now that he knows what the various roles are that they should be fulfilling.
Yeah,
And he sees that it's not happening in terms of the city council.
and he's seen who's usurped
Yeah,
the power, and he says it's the city administrator and it's the staff. That's the exact type of stuff we've been talking about
Right,
here.
yeah.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we can say it, but Jack lived it.
Yeah, he's interacted with those people, and he knows exactly.
Now, when he talks a little bit about his the amount of money, it was $200,000 the city came up with to repair it. Now, it's been running. I did a little digging myself, called a couple of the people that understood that system. They said, well, yeah, if you want to spend $200,000, you certainly can. But it took, his estimate that he talks about was about $20,000 to put that back on. They're just basically they're just bum rushing him out of that building. Now,
Well,
that's what's going on.
we want to, for those of you that might not be up to speed on this, there was a water issue
Right.
that developed in the Machinery Row building where the Racine Baseball Club is located. And as a result of that, the city said, you can no longer occupy that space, it's unsafe, and you got to shut down your operation until or unless repairs are made. And then they come up with this $200,000
Right.
figure for making the repairs, which is about 10 times what other people have estimated it should be. And these are people that are familiar with the system.
Right. Well, I guess part of the things here is, I mean, who is actually running City Hall now?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're going to discuss a little bit tonight.
Well, another thing we should, while we're on this Machinery Row thing, we ought to talk about who owns those buildings down in Machinery Row. And it turns out that they are still in the name of Rodney Blackwell
Right.
from FDP Properties.
Yeah, that's one of the questions I have, because
He
the
has
city
the title
doesn't
to
own
it.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
And Rodney Blackwell would be the one doing that repair.
Mhm.
And so if Jack can if we can get it done for 20,000, and the owner won't do it, well then the tenant can do it, perfectly legitimate, and maybe we get a fundraiser for him and get the $20,000 up and get
Right.
the dang thing fixed.
Right. But they're forcing them out. But you don't own the property. How can you evict somebody or tell them to get out of a property that you technically don't own? You're not on the recorded, well, we've got a signed deed or a signed deed in lieu of foreclosure. Well, then record it. Then why aren't they recording that?
I guess they could condemn it even if they
That
don't
now
own it.
that's a way to get it out. Condemn,
They
which
tried that.
they tried that with the roof. Remember, they
Yeah.
tried to kick him out of there, and so he brought in
I give
people
these
that
guys credit.
look at the-
They hang in there. They keep fighting. I tell you what, man, those are the kind of guys you want on your side.
And they're
it-
doing it for the kids in the community.
It's-
You know, I mean,
it's City Hall versus the people. Is
Yeah,
what,
that's
the staff,
exactly
not
what's
City Hall.
it.
It's the staff versus the people.
And the alderman
that's the
sits there
game.
like bumps on a log.
Yeah.
They'll have a clue what they're there for. They've actually been put to a point now. They've been just neutralized. They're not.
they've
You,
been
you would
reduced
think
to-
they would step up and defend the people that they represent, but they don't. You know, very few.
It's embarrassing.
There's a couple
When he
aldermen
says
that
you
do
should be
defend
ashamed of yourself, you should. Those aldermen should be ashamed of themselves.
Well, I really think they're just enamored with the idea that they're a member of the city council. They like the prestige of being part
Yeah,
of
you're
government,
probably
but they
right.
don't want to be involved in any of the real responsible judgments that are incumbent
I
with the
totally,
position.
I think that's the basic
Yeah,
problem.
they'll rely on the
Popularity
staff
contest.
to tell them what to do, and they've evolved into nothing more than a rubber stamp. I mean, all of these votes that come down are they're like overwhelmingly in favor of whatever the staff proposes. It's always the same 3 or 4 older people that have questions like, why is it being done this way? Couldn't it be
Right.
done less expensively? Does it even need to be done?
Yeah, ask a
And
few
they-
questions, and
so
then
it's
of course you're not germane to the subject. Well,
Yeah.
hell yeah, it's germane. You just don't want to hear it.
And then it's a
You know?
slam dunk for the way the staff
Right.
wants it. So,
But I think you hit on it all. It's the incompetence of the council members needing to rely on the staff to make the decisions for them. They don't feel competent, and they aren't competent enough apparently
Right.
to make their own decisions.
Well,
I don't think any of them study the issues before they get to a
Well,
meeting.
that's why they're not. Yeah, that's part of competence is knowing
Yeah.
what's going on.
exactly.
Yeah,
Take
if
the
you
time.
don't know-
I mean, you've been elected to a position. Actually, you're being paid in that position. You should be able to know what the subject is when you're going to vote on something. Absolutely know it.
And
Go to
some,
those committee
and
meetings.
some are not that difficult anyway.
Right.
You know, it's not like they're huge, complicated, intricate engineering questions.
Right.
A lot of them are very simple things about a ball club being in a building that.
But if
they're
you
using.
sit there
What's
with
the
your
big deal?
arms folded and you have a stern look on your face and you nod once in a while.
That can be very impressive on camera.
Yeah.
Apparently,
I think
I looked at it first with you.
people
that's
out
good.
there right now are
You
looking
could
at
be
me
an
and they're
alderman.
thinking, this guy, he's deep. This guy's deep.
Yeah, I mean, don't say too much. Look smart.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the event center. That's another one. I mean, we're going to beat Machinery Row. It's never going to end. But the
Well,
event center.
Before we leave Machinery Row, we were talking about what should we do about Machinery Row. Can we just touch on
Yeah,
that real
go ahead.
quickly? Because I think what needs to be done about Machinery Row is absolutely nothing. Just leave it there. It was operating pretty well all along, just in private hands, and there are people using it. And there were people. There were how many people? How many various little companies throughout all
Yeah.
those buildings there? 9, 10 companies that they all had to get evicted because there was threat of selling it. If we just leave it alone at this point, the city can continue to get tax money from it because that's the way the system works. The county will pay the city the taxes that become due on it, and it could ride that way for a long, long time, next to forever, until someone actually comes in and legitimately takes those buildings over, finds a use for them, and does
Right,
something with it.
right.
We don't have to go in there now and spend a lot of money
It could be
tear it
cleaned
down
up.
and
No.
clean it up.
Just clean it up. Plant grass.
Yep.
Clean it up. Let them sit and let's just ride it out
Yeah,
because
I-
it's been a huge huge disaster for
I'm
us.
going to throw the idea out there right now that we discussed the other day. I'd set up bleachers, and I would invite people to come down and put the popcorn wagon out there where you could buy some popcorn, maybe some hot dogs, and you could sit and watch them tear up the pavement.
Yep, I agree.
You know, and then take part in the cleanup process. Get that fence out
You know what?
of
You need
the perimeter.
We need
Plant some grass.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. City involvement. Get people involved in their community on this stuff. This high level mumbo jumbo that gets pushed around now, it's got to stop.
Yeah.
No, and you don't have to do anything. It can just go along the way it is. And if somebody wants to do something, let the county do it.
Right.
The
I agree.
county-
Well,
yeah.
I would argue with you if less than nothing was an option, but I'll defer to you and say nothing is a good idea.
Yeah. All right. Anyway,
now let's go to the
arena.
event
Let's go to the arena. Yeah.
Arena, event center.
Arena. Yeah.
I think everybody pretty much now uses the term the arena project. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the de facto
Right.
name for it at this point. And the acting mayor, Dennis Weiser, has come out very strongly in favor of that. I mean, he's talked about whoever the new mayor is going to be brought into the fold. They're going to be educated. They're going to be converted to be in favor of
Right,
this
they're
thing.
going to like it.
Yeah.
They're going to like it.
And that's a possibility because we've got two candidates now. We just went through the primary. We've got Sandy Widener and we've got Corey Mason. Now, Sandy Widener has said that she would veto the arena if that came to her desk. Corey Mason says, well, I was kind of lukewarm to the idea, even though he specifically mentioned it earlier when he was first announcing his campaign as one of the things that we need to move forward on. Now he said that he was lukewarm to it, and now is probably not the best time. But I'm thinking that if you get elected, it will become the best time, won't it, Corey?
Well, yeah. I don't want to answer for Corey, no, but but that is my concern.
Yeah.
That was a convenient answer to say this is not the time. But as Foxconn gets developed or something like that, something could change and say, oh, guess what? Now's the time to do it.
Now's the
and
time.
Foxconn is not going to make it any more viable than it is now. It's just that.
But here's the thing. When they talk about the event center, they almost talk like the council has nothing to do with the event center. They talk, well, we haven't put the right information out to the community so they can quite understand. And we do have the votes to override a veto, which is exactly what they're just going after Sandy Widener with that.
I think when I heard that statement that we can override a veto, I thought he's directly looking at Sandy Widener challenging her because she's the only one that says she would veto it. Corey Mason said he didn't think now was the time to do it.
Right.
So
Well, he did polling. That's what happened. Why so late to, you know what else?
Yeah.
He hired a staff from, and it was actually New York, and that came in and did polling. They polled Racine and found out, ooh, that arena's a bad thing. We can't get elected on that. So I'm going to back up, make a Facebook post and say, that arena, it's really not a good time to do that. So,
and the thing is notice that all 6 candidates voted against it. And the reason they were doing that is because they were out campaigning at the time, which Jim Morganroth pointed out in one of his statements. I don't care what they say now, they're campaigning. Well, the thing is, Jim Morganroth, he's the alderman of the 12th district, is that they are out campaigning and they are in touch with the people. Even if it's through polls, like you said, they are talking to people and they're finding out nobody out there likes it. So that's why they're not doing it. And the council is taking a direct opposite position from their constituency when they say, we're going to pass it anyway.
But in their defense,
Whose defense? Council's
in the
defense?
defense of the council,
Well, I got to hear this one. This ought to be good.
Yeah.
they have an advisory committee.
Oh, the advisory committee.
Yes, I mean you don't have to study the issues
Great.
anymore.
Step
We got
aside,
an
I'm not
advisory
responsible.
committee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not me. It's them.
14 members. 14 members they have on this advisory committee.
Now, the advisory committee was one of those milestones, right? That they had to have, there
well,
were
they
like
got
10 milestones.
10 milestones. I don't know if the advisory committee is, but how come the common
That was
council,
one of them. That was
it?
one. Yeah, that was
They had
one.
to have an
They had to have an
advisory
advisory committee.
Let's take it out of
and
the.
They had to have an interested party that was interested in putting some money into it, and they had to have had set up a committee. There were various things they had to do.
Let me ask you specifically now. You said that they referred to this as a milestone. Are you sure that was not a typo and they weren't and they were saying it was a millstone?
That was one of the worst usages I've ever seen of a milestone. I mean, some of them were so small and so insignificant as to say, what do you, at any rate, that.
But anyway, they're getting it set up to where the council, check your brains at the door. because you got the advisory committee here now, and they're going to be telling you exactly what to think.
Well,
and
it's
do.
more like the cheerleading club. Come in and we're going to get this thing going, because everybody on this advisory committee is basically a cheerleader for the event center or arena. So now, hey, this is a great idea, Consul, who represents the taxpayer who doesn't want it, but we're going to make this all look good. We'll get a good press releases in the paper. We'll make it look real good, and you're going to like it in the end, because we know more than you.
I don't see anybody from the production line at Incinerator. I don't see any truck drivers on here. I don't see any storekeepers on here. No common folks. These are all players in town here.
Oh yeah, and they're all going to make. They're all into this for. Believe me, there's a reason why they're on that advisory committee.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't exactly figured out what it is, but it's something to do with the prestige of it or something. I don't know why.
Why don't you come together, all 14 of you, and put a package together and take the taxpayer off the hook? Why don't you try that one?
There you go.
What is this? Remember the festival hall?
Create an investment
it's paid
panel.
for. When they put that together, those leaders, and I call them leaders because they put together a huge project, and when at the end of it was paid for.
Yeah.
The festival hall was paid for.
When it was announced, that we showed you had a video on here, right?
Yeah.
You said that
That's the difference.
It was
the
built
difference
and paid for, and this is going to be
charlatans.
Yeah, this is going to be built and owed $60 million. Still, built and in debt.
This is a scam. Like Machinery Row is a scam. This event center is going to be a scam, and I'm going to Foxconn and saying that's a scam. I don't think there's one in the bunch that's going to materialize to a point other than dipping into the taxpayer's pocket.
I don't hear any arguments. Steve.
Well, I have no opinion.
I wasn't going to argue with you. George is over here dead selling.
Foxconn, I see could possibly be successful, but I can see where it can be. I mean, when we did the program, I told you, I liked the idea when I first saw it, but when I saw that stage with 8 politicians on it and 1 businessman, and I see these politicians making political hay out of it, then I had to question it. And I still don't know what to think about
the
Foxconn.
sales tax thing, they're pitching in the budget.
Now we got
the Walker's budget. There's the Racine
We're going to have a county sales tax.
County
Foxconn.
0.5. Yep. You already
Sales
paid
tax.
for one stadium. Let's pay for the one that you're going to have downtown that you'll never get inside. This is unbelievable.
Now is that what that 0.5%? Is that Foxconn or is that the arena?
Racine County. Well, no, that would be Foxconn. I
Foxconn,
think, I
okay.
don't. Who knows?
They
need more money. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Because they'll shuffle the money around. I mean, they're talking about some of the things that they use to reduce the projected cost of the arena is, well, we'll take the parking meter money. That's going to be
Parking meter
though
money.
That's not being spent on anything now.
Racine, who happens to be on the board here, you're going to give up your hotel tax money?
Yeah,
wasn't that used for something else?
Yeah, I know. You don't need that.
How about this is the one I like the best. They're going to get cell phone towers on the arena. Then they can get some revenue from those cell phone towers. I mean, that one's like, you're talking about a $60 million project, and you're talking about $1,000, $1,200 a month for cell phone towers?
Yeah, that was...
You can see there's big problems here. I don't know how these people can actually sit in the same room and not throw open their own mouth.
Jeez, Jim. That was an unappealing image that you conjured up
I
there.
may cut that out.
Well, where else do we want to take this discussion? I think we've hit the council pretty hard, and these guys deserve to be hit.
They deserve it. They really do.
Because they've really abdicated from their responsibility. And a guy like Jack, who's a hardworking citizen in Racine, and he's doing something for the kids of this community. And they're for 21 years.
They had 45 scholarships come out of there, baseball scholarships out of Jack's camp.
Yeah.
45 kids went to college on scholarships for baseball out of Jack's camp. How many kids? These kids. It's just a great program. They make no money. It's non-profit. But yet we can't bum rush them out. But we go and spend $60 million for a hockey club or a hockey team from who knows where, high school kids. But we got to have that hockey here. But Jack, let's get him out of here. Hurry up, Jack! Get your crap and get out of here.
Yeah.
And a council
really
that
disgusting.
acquiesced to that.
And the council sits there and just watches it happen. It's pathetic.
Well, we've got at least one mayor candidate for sure that's going to oppose it, and another kind of promises to that we're a little questionable about.
Yeah.
But at least one of them would oppose it, and then it'd be up to us to get at least 6 council members to support that veto.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be vetoed. I just don't. There is no. I mean, I've talked to enough people too to know that there's a huge amount of people that do not like this. I have found very few, less than 1% that
Have any enthusiasm for it?
have any
Or even know about
for
it.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know about it.
Yeah.
Well,
I went out and got, by the way, when it first came out and we were going for the referendum, I went out and talked to a lot of people then and got signatures. And maybe one of the people I knocked on was liked the idea. I thought it was probably a good idea. It was going to bring jobs and this type of stuff. But the rest of us saw through it immediately. Even when they didn't know about it at first, when I told them a little bit about it, they said, "Well, that doesn't sound very smart. How a couple
amount of
hockey
money.
players is going to pay for $60 million."
well, one thing I would like to do before we leave is thank the 7,500 or so people who showed up for the primary election. You were doing your part as citizens. Congratulations. I appreciate your efforts. Now we got a final vote coming up on October 17th. So I expect to see all of you who voted in the primary out there again. And for crying out loud, get your friends and your neighbors and anybody else that's in this town to get out and vote. I mean, that's the only power as citizens that we really have. And it's very, very important to take part in the process. So please keep in mind that we got an election coming up. Listen to the 2 candidates. Come to a rational decision and show up on October 17th, if not before. So I think that pretty much wraps up what we got to say here today. And gee, the Packers are playing, aren't they? Or is that game's probably over? I wonder if they won. You don't care, do you?
I can live with it either way.
I'm thinking if they watch the show, I'll become a bigger fan.
There you go.
I watch them once in a while. Say goodnight to our friends, George.
Good night.
Good night.
See you soon. Thank you.